Brian, the last thing that I wanted to ask you came out of your next big idea interview. There's a quote from Frederick Taylor, who we discussed earlier around that concept of Taylorism, who famously wrote in 1911, "In the past, the man has been first. In the future, the system must be first." He was able to realize his vision, and it's still pervasive today, 112 years later. We can now say that in the past, the system has been first, and in the future, the human must be first. Using that as the last kind of quote, what do you hope readers take away from your book?
My hope is that in this era of AI, that people would, first of all, see the value that they have as people as venerable. It's not going away. The machines give us new means of creating more value, but they don't take away from the value that we have as people, is probably the very first thing I would say, because I think there's a lot of noise in the market saying something else that I just fundamentally disagree with. The second thing I would say is that when you go about creating value in organizations or even in just in your own personal life, you want to go do something. First of all, if you're doing it alone, doing strategy that's based on reason is going to be more effective than purely data. But if you're doing it with other people, the first step is to envision the actual future that you want to create. And the second is to come up with a strategy that is, I would argue, reason driven would be the most effective method I've seen so far to be able to the next step, which is carrying that through and getting other people on board with what it is that you're trying to do. The joke people make is it only takes one person to stop an AI project or any project, right? Just one naysayer and you're done. And so I think a lot of times people keep trying the same way of going about teeing up an initiative and getting funding and then going and executing on the work. And it just keeps not working. But we keep just thinking, but if I try harder, then it will work. And I would say that if there's one takeaway, it's you don't have to necessarily try harder. You might need to try a different way. And if you try that different way, and if you're thinking from a social of your organization as a social system, a network of people, as opposed to a mechanical system, which is a bunch of functions that happen to have people doing stuff, then you can design your plan and your strategy in a very different way and come up with win-wins across the organization and ground the work that you're trying to do. Even if you're a senior executive, coming out and saying everybody has to do this because I said so is never going to have the same effect as painting a vision for the future and showing them themselves in that future and why that will be meaningful for them to be there with you. The Antoine Saint-Exupéry quotation, if you want to get people to build a ship, you don't buy lumber and start ordering them around. Instead, instill in them a restless longing for the sea. And so I think that the 20th century Frederick Taylor management system of treating people like they're cogs in a machine worked really well before we had the distributed workforce and the fact that people can work remotely, they can learn any skill online now, they can apply and find new networks online and they can go work other places. The management style that we've inherited from the Industrial Revolution just doesn't work anymore. And AI plus the social context that we're in today brings all of that to a head. And it's a precipice upon which those who want to be leaders in the future need to make a decision that they need to change the way that we've been doing management up until now and start doing something that's different and start focusing on grounding in the future. The human must be first. Me saying that is saying that you start with how am I going to get this group of people to be passionate about to passion struck to your book? How are we going to get them to feel significance in what we're doing and why we're doing it and be able to bring their best selves to doing this? I would rather have people that are connected to what we're doing and have psychological safety and that are one tier of expertise lower than the top experts in the world, stressed out and frustrated by what it is or confused about what it is we're even trying to do.